Do I press got it as well?
Yes, please.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Right. Hello, Alyssa. Carry on.
Hi. Technowood School is a school for autistic children and young adults, and we have set this podcast up to provide our pupils with a fantastic opportunity to develop a range of skills whilst interviewing top sportsmen and women from a variety of different sports. Joining us today on the TWS Sports Podcast is a legend from the world of football. He managed teams such as Sheffield United, Crystal Palace, and Caerfield City, and lots of other teams. Welcome to the podcast, Neil Warnock.
Correct. Thank you, Alyssa. Yeah.
I always worry about saying people's last names because I have a habit of saying them incorrectly.
Don't worry. I've got.
Apologies once again to all of you previous guests.
Okay. No problem.
Right. You started you okay, we were about to start with the questions.
Yeah. No problem.
You started your managerial career at Gainsborough. How did you find the move into management, and what were your biggest challenges at first?
Well, at Gainsborough, I was it was my first job, and I learned a big lesson there. I had a chief executive who was the boss of the whole league, the Northern Premier League, and he was only I remember we started the season quite well, but we were in the FA Cup, and I'd signed a big striker from Rotherham, and just before the game, he called me into the boot room where they run out to the pitch. And this Ken Marsden, it would call the lad, he said to me, "Neil, are you playing Stuart Evans today?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, the directors don't think he should play today." And I took a deep breath, and I thought, now, this is my career now. This is my first job. If I give in to the directors, I've no chance. So I said, "Yes, Ken, I'm going to play him. If you tell the directors, I'm going to play them, and they'll have to find somebody else if they don't." And he went off, and we won the game 2-0, and Stuart Evans scored both goals. And at the end of the game, he was waiting for me coming in, this Ken Marsden, and he quickly, "Neil, come here." I said, "What's up, Ken?" He said, "We need to sign Stuart Evans on a contract because Sheffield United are after him." And that stood me in good stead, that directors will say one thing, but I realized early doors that you've got to do your own thing in management. And so even though it was my first job, I learned an awful lot in management by being at Gainsborough, which I'd never forget.
Okay. You had a great spell at Notts County, gaining 2 promotions to reach the top division. How do you look back on your time there?
Just with extreme pride, really, in what we achieved. We were towards the bottom end of what is now Division 1, and we managed to stay up. And then I changed things, and we ended up getting promotion from Division 1, and then getting promotion like to the Premier League now in 2 seasons. So it was a great achievement with a group of boys that my teams have never been the best team, but they've always been the best team spirit. And in anything that you do in life, it's the overall thing that comes on top. I think the team spirit is vital, and you can have all the ability in the world, but if you don't get what the team are trying to do, you don't very often get success. And all my successes have really been creating a team spirit from a group of players that I've managed to bring together. So that's my time. We had 2 Wembley playoff final wins at Notts County, and going home on the buses with all the bus scarves out the window up the motorways, and an open top decker bus ride to the Nottingham, to the City Hall for the presentation. It was wonderful memories there, and I'll never forget them.
Okay. We're going to fast forward a few years, if that's okay, and miss out a number of clubs. as we talk about your time at Sheffield, Sheffield United. What was it like joining your hometown club and the team you support?
It was well, because I'd grown up as a Sheffield United fan. It was unbelievable. It was my ambition to try and manage Sheffield United, and to do it when we did was just an amazing time. Excuse me. So when I was offered the job, I remember driving to the ground and looking at the big stadium, Sheffield United, and thinking how proud my mum and dad would be that I was taking over at the club, And it was I had 7-8 years, really, real good times. We changed the whole club round, and I wanted to make it the best in Sheffield, which it wasn't. I wanted to make the stadium the best one. I wanted to manage them in the Premier League, and I managed to achieve all those things. So it was a great, and it was only the disappointment of how I left. I fell out with the chairman at the time, who had been friends with for many years, and it was a sour way to leave. But I really enjoyed my time there, and I remember. I mean, when I was a kid, my dad worked 16-hour shifts in English Steels, and then we used to rush down to the game, and he knew somebody on the turnstiles. I used to sneak into the turnstiles as a little boy, and then run up this big cop, which seemed like Mount Everest, smelling the hot dogs at the top, and then looking at the pitch. And in those days, when the crowds were full, you'll not believe this, Alyssa, but those days, we would get there late, and he'd tap the back of the shoulder of the man at the back of the cop, and he'd say, "Boy, come in." And they lifted me up on the shoulders, and he said, "I'll pick you up at the end of the game, son. You stay at the railings." And they used to pass me down the railings to the front, and Dad would pick me up at the end. Unfortunately, now they'd probably throw me down, but in those days, they passed me down, and I used to pick my dad up at the end of the game.
Okay. So, a few weeks ago, we spoke to one of your former Sheffield United players, Paul Devlin. He recalled a time where the team flew to Trinidad or whatever.
Yeah.
Trinidad,
yeah.
At the end of the season, and Paul got so drunk on the plane that as soon as the plane landed, you sent him back to England on the same plane.
I'm surprised.
What was your memories of this?
I'm surprised he could remember it. He was, I didn't know till we were well over halfway that he'd been drinking at the back with the lads when somebody told me that he'd had all the miniatures that were on board. And I managed to get him down towards the front, but they were wanted to arrest him and everything. The aircraft people, it was a bit hair raising. So I had to keep him at the side of me, and wow, he was so strong. He trying to get up, and I said, "You've got to stay here." And we managed to. I said to the staff, "Then we've got to send him back in the same flight if we can. Let him sober up." And it was frightening at the time, but I mean, Paul was a good lad. He obviously couldn't take his booze, and I should have kept my eye on him a little bit more than what I did, or the staff should have done. But we have a laugh about it over the years after that.
Splash ice cold water on him. That'll work.
I know. It was more than cold water. I think if we'd have been a parachute, we might have put a parachute on him.
Oh,
Thrown him out of the plane.
Skydiving, but involuntarily. Oh no.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but he was a nice lad, a smashing lad. But obviously, he just he got carried away on the journey.
Okay. In 2005, you got promoted with Sheffield United to the Premier League. What are your memories of this?
Just the timing of it. As it happened, we got promoted when we weren't playing. We'd played on a Good Friday at Cardiff and got a great result. And we knew that Leeds had to win on the Saturday. And I went home to Cornwall, where my house is, and I couldn't watch the television, and we cut in the grass. And I remember Sharon, my wife, shouting, they've drawn the game, so we were promoted, and it was a fabulous time. But what I do remember about the night is I said to her, right, we'll go and eat, we'll go and celebrate and have a great meal somewhere in a nice restaurant and champagne and all that. And we couldn't get anywhere. So I ended up in a little village called Callington nearby where I live at a kebab place. And I remember saying to the guy who served us, you wouldn't believe I were a Premiership manager, would you? With 2 kebabs for Saturday night. Oh, dear. How the mighty have fallen. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's good, that.
What is the biggest difference between managing in the Football League and managing in the Premier League?
I think the biggest difference is the athleticism of them. That by that I mean they're all big lads now in the Premier League. They're all strong. They're all can run for miles. Everything's driven like that. So you don't get away with things you do in the Championship. Every game is so difficult in the Premier League, and when you get these strong lads with the athleticism, and then you've given them so much ability. It's hard for teams that come up from the Championship now. It's getting even harder, I think, to compete because the skill technique now is just wonderful now, and the top teams in particular. I've never seen anything like. A few years ago, when I was at Cardiff, we played Manchester City, and we were 0-0 after 30 minutes, and I thought we did ever so well, and we had a few chances, and then we went in at half time 3-0 down, and the third goal, I've never seen anything. David Silva was, I loved him. And I remember shout for the third goal. I was the manager of the opponents, don't forget. And I remember shouting, wow, what a goal, out loud. I was on the dugout, in the dugout. And so I've never seen anything quite so good. But they are very, very good now in Premier League.
That season ended in regulation for Sheffield United on a tense final day.
Yeah.
There was a lot of I have no idea what that word says.
Conversation.
Yes.
Controversy.
Around that, because the
controversy.
Carlos
Controversy.
Tevez saga at West Ham.
Yeah.
What are your memories of that day? And did it disappoint you the way it ended at Sheffield United?
Yes, it was. It was my memories of the day, not really ones that I like to remember. Really, it was raining as well. I remember. I never heard at one point in the second half when we just hit the post and we couldn't score. We were losing, and I knew about the Tevez thing. And there was one point where the rain was coming down my head, down my face, on my nose, and I was oblivious to any of the crowd noise. And all I could think about was how unjust that we were going to get relegated with 38 points. Nowadays, you'd be mid-table with 38 points. It was just such a travesty, really. That we and I mean, we gave a penalty away that was unbelievable as well. So it was such a mixture of things, but it was just everything that built up that day was very sad for me that day.
And Neil, just to chip in on that one with the whole Carlos Tevez thing, was Sheffield United actually compensated for that afterwards?
Oh yeah, they got. Yeah. I think they got about 25 million quid.
Okay.
And he did say that. I remember the chairman saying that he couldn't put my staying up bonus in the claim, but he'd look after me if they got, which I'm still waiting for that. But anyway,
maybe you should call him.
Yeah, I'm sure
we'll start an appeal.
Yeah, we'll put it on appeal. But if it would have been the other way around, I'm convinced that if there'd been Sheffield United doing that, we would have been deducted points. I think it was just that it was a big city club, West Ham, and we'll just put it under the carpet. But 38 points. Have a look this season where you are with 38 points. You've done well when you get 38 points.
Yeah. Would you put that down to obviously anybody that's seen the sort of viral clips of yourself back in the day? The whole we're in London, we're in London. Would you put it to that sort of thing, you know, that being at West Ham and you say, you know, if it was the other way around, do you put it into that sort of London bias?
I think so, yeah. I think that's just common. I think they'd always look after certain clubs better than others. But I've always been like that when I say about this is London. It's the same with referees when you go down there. You don't expect too much. You know, there's certain grounds, you know, you're not going to get much because, you know, quite hostile places for referees. So they're only human nature. So it's human nature that will not give so much against them.
Yeah, well, I'm a Wolves fan, so I can't really say much about referees and officials and whatnot. So, like Salah said, if I speak, I'm
I'm going to say you've had enough this season to last you a lifetime.
Not off. Alyssa, do you want to move on to 11?
Right. We just want to stop with the questions about your career for a moment and play a Would You Rather game. You up for that?
Sorry, I'm there. Can I?
Do you want me to repeat myself?
Yeah, go on. So, Charles, would you? And I heard you say, "Are you ready?"
Okay. We just wanted to stop with the questions about your career for a moment and play a Would You Rather game. You up for that?
Sorry, you keep cutting out, Alyssa. Sorry.
It's just what it is. We'll stop with like the career questions just for a moment. It's just a little sort of like Would You Rather game, like the first one. Just for examples like night in or night out, that sort of thing.
No, sorry. I'd rather have a night in.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
Beach holiday or city break?
City break. I've never been a sun worshipper, if I'm honest.
Would you rather talk to animals or speak every language?
Right. Well, when I first thought about this, I would love to have spoke to animals, right? But I changed my mind because if I could speak every language, then when I'm in company abroad, I'd love to know what other people are saying without telling them that I understand the language. I'd love to sneak in on a table and listen to conversations without knowing. So I think I would go with speaking the language, the 100 languages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather explore space or explore the bottom of the ocean?
I think it's something that the ocean is quite frightening, the depth of the ocean, but I do love fishing. I love fish and I love the unknown about, you know, going down in a submarine and having a look around. I think that not knowing what's around the corner, I'm sure space is, I think if you ask the young generation, they'd probably say space. But myself, I just love the thought of going under the ocean, me.
Well, both are dark, mysterious, and don't have oxygen. So I don't see much of a difference.
I know.
Yeah, there's life in the ocean, right?
Yeah. With the swimming.
Yeah. Would you rather go forward 200 years and see your future family or go back 200 years and meet your ancestors?
Back 200 years and meet my ancestors where there were no telephones, computers, you know, you didn't have to get designer clothes. What a great time that must have been, eh?
You were back to the questions about your career.
Right, okay.
You were well known for having a fiery personality in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And we have seen some of your rants at players.
Yeah.
How did players respond to this, and do you regret any of the times you shouted?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the thing about me is you get what you see with me. I got very emotional on the touchline and at half time and at full time. And if I shouted at my player and screamed at him, not many players answered back. They just listened, or if they'd made a mistake, they knew that it was coming, and I'd go daft. But then I'd go out of the room after the game to do a press conference, and when I came back, everything was forgotten. I never held anything, never thought about anything else. Didn't worry me if I'd shouted at him or not. Then it was all gone. I never let things dwell on and that's what I've done all my career. And that's why the lads know if they make a mistake, they know what's coming most of the time. I love the dog. Who's the dog, Alyssa?
This is Mouse, one of my 3 dogs.
Oh,
As you can see, she's come to say hi.
Hello. I'll show you mine in a minute. I'll let Sharon bring my. Although mine's bang out, Alyssa, at the minute. We've had to. Oh no, she's here. He's coming. Sharon's bringing it. We're going to show you my dog now. All right.
Okay.
We don't go public very often on this. Are you ready? This is Monty.
Oh, hello, Monty.
Say hello, Monty. Hello. That's Alyssa. All right. Where's your dog, Alyssa? Let's have a look at your dog.
Mousy.
Shout him up.
Sprocket. Nope, they're not coming. Oh, no, here they are. Mousy. Mousy, come in.
Oh, hang on. Is he coming?
Mousy. No, Mouse, come back. No.
Oh, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He's not playing game with us. Okay, go on. I'm sorry I've distracted you there.
That's okay.
Carry on, Alyssa.
Okay. Back to the question.
Yeah, wherever we were.
Is it true that you tricked your Sheffield United team into a 10-pin bowling game? Can you tell us anything about that, please?
Yes, I did. I tricked them into playing only because we were going away to Scarborough for a pre-season couple of days, and there was a bowling alley there, and somebody suggested a game of bowls, you see. Well, what they didn't know, the boys, was that I had been teaching bowls at a Sheffield bowling alley when I was about 19, 20. So I was a good player. So I got my ball and my shoes, and we went to Scarborough because I said to the lads, why don't we make it interesting? £20 each and what have you in the kitty and what have you. Might have been a tenner, Alyssa, but it sounds better, 20. And so we went to the bowling alley, and I think I shot a 225 or 240. I got about 6-7 strikes and cleared up the money. And Pesky Solido, he absolutely loved it. He talks about it all the time, how I duped them. Jazz, can I just ask you here? Sorry, look. I've just got something on my screen. Just hang on 2 seconds.
No problem.
Okay.
Do I press cancel there? Or okay. Thank you. Carry on, Alyssa.
Alyssa, just a quick one, because we are running out of time. It's approaching 2 o'clock. Do you want to skip forward to question 17?
17. Okay. You joined Carfield when they were in the
relegation
zone, and the following season got them promoted to the Premier League. How did you improve that squad so much?
It wasn't so much. They were a good squad, but they didn't believe in themselves. So I just worked on basics to try and get them better. Everybody can improve on anything they do if they just work hard. And they work very hard at individual skills to become a better individual. And then we became a better team, and we had some fun. We had some fun to get promotion. But it was all just working on little strengths to make sure because it's all about, most of it is in the mind, Alyssa. You can either be good or bad in here. If you believe in yourself, you can do so much more.
I know, I've worked so hard, I've given myself a headache.
Yeah, I know, that's it.
On the promotion with Cardiff, that night in Cardiff when Wolves travelled up, did you speak to Nuno after the game, after the refusal?
That was funny, wasn't it? That?
Yeah. As a Wolves fan, couldn't help, it was just one of those funny football moments.
I mean, for anybody that didn't know, we missed 2 penalties in injury time. And because they're celebrating when the whistle's gone. And I go across to shake his hand, and I'm waiting with my hand out, and he just ignores me like. So I went off to say, thank the fans, and then somebody banging on him, and next minute he's chasing after me, and I go away, you, or words similar to that.
Yeah, similar to that sort of effect. Yeah.
And but we didn't. And then I saw him at a league manager's do about 3 or 4 days later, and we get on ever so well. He's a wonderful man. And so we had a laugh about it, and he apologized to me.
No, fair enough.
But it's you understand it, but I was so deflated and he was so high up, But had a few good battles with Wolves over the years as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, one for me, like one of my personal highlights as a Wolves fan was the 2003 playoff final. But on the topic of Wolves management, was there any truth in the you being linked to the job after McCarthy had been sacked in? Was it?
Yeah, I should have gone. I should have gone there as well. My wife always says you made a mistake. I went to Leeds instead.
Mm-hmm.
It was because my children, a couple of my kids live up that way.
Okay.
But I shouldn't have gone to Leeds. I did that in a quick thing. I should have gone to. I went to Wolves. I saw the chairman down there. I met him down there, but I told him if they wouldn't give me a quick decision, they wanted 24 hours because they got other people, and I wanted a quick decision.
Kirbishley gave the same sort of reason as well. I think it was. Yeah.
And I wanted a quick decision because Bates had told me I'd got the job.
Yeah.
So that's how it ended. But yes, it's a regret. It's a lovely. I've always said club. I remember when you won every game start of the season, and then we played you, and I can see Mendes Lang scoring now going through, scoring great, and we had some right good Barneys with Wolves.
Yeah,
good. I'm glad to see you doing well.
Oh, thank you. Well, Ish, he's had a good season.
Yes, he has.
With Sean Derry as well. He's obviously for one of the coaches. Yeah. Elisa, you've got a question there in regards to Sean Derry. Yeah. Question 14. Do you want to ask that one?
I was given the wrap-up sign.
Don't worry, carry on.
The time.
Don't worry, Lisa, carry on, love. Have you got the 14?
14. What was 14? First you told me to go on 17. Now you want me to go on 14.
Oh, I know what you mean.
I just thought we'd bounce back to it on the mention of Wolves at the minute and Sean Derry because never used to manage Sean. Was it QPR?
I did, yes, at QPR. Well, I'm
14.
And it's a long question, though. That he wants you to name a few players, and I've got it here, look, as well. Sean Derry. I was pleased. I tell you about Sean Derry. I was pleased he went into management, right? Because the number of times I said to him, "No, Sean, no, not that. No, I hope you go into management one day and you'll understand about all this."
Did he?
And then he did, and he come to me after and said, "I realise, Gaffer, now what you meant when you told me about what I shouldn't be doing." And I think it stood him in good stead. That,
He started out at Notts County as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I had him 3 times, and steady, centre midfield player.
Yeah.
And but I'm
one that
sure
you didn't mess with.
Yes, you didn't mess with him. No, you didn't mess with him.
Right. Looking at the time, Alyssa, do you want to
wrap it up?
Yeah, do you want to wrap it up with 21
and 22?
And 22, yeah.
I'm on it. Every week on the podcast, we like our guests to ask questions to each other.
Yeah.
So we get our guest to ask a question, but they have no idea who the question's going to be for.
Right.
This week's question comes from Sky Sports Formula One pundit Karun Chandhok, who asks, "What's your favourite takeaway?"
My favourite takeaway is buttered chicken, Indian, and what I like with that, I love poppadoms, and I love the what do you call it, the mango chutney.
Oh yeah,
and then putting the onions on the poppadom. In fact, I could have poppadoms as my meal. Really, I could eat 6 or 7 of them. So it would be buttered chicken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you do the same, please? Can you think of a question for our next guest? But we aren't going to tell you who the guest is. The question can be anything you want.
Well, what I would say is, if you weren't in the career that you're in now, what would you have wanted to be in another career?
Good question.
Okay.
But let me know, won't you, who it is?
I'm
sure Adam will let you know.
Yeah, Adam did say, it should be Darren Byfield.
Oh yeah, the player.
I think he's had to reschedule the date, but we'll see. There's a possibility.
Okay. Oh, that's lovely.
I would just like to say a big thank you again to everyone who listens to our podcast. We really appreciate it. Please continue to leave reviews and pass our podcast on to your friends and family. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today, Neil. We really enjoyed speaking with you, and it means so much to us as a podcast, as a school, to be able to have the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to everybody else in the background as well. I'm actually going to be doing something else in the near future with a lad called Greg, who I had at Rotherham. We're doing something on Sky as well about autism and etc. And it's going to it's good to open people's eyes, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people understand it. I think they've got like a sort of degree, but not a full understanding of
some people see autism as an illness.
Yeah, and
it ain't.
I have to say, Elisa, as well. I thought you were very good, darling, there, and I love the way you overcome things like that, and you don't get flustered. And you can't do that, can you?
I wouldn't really say I don't get flustered.
Only when
I do sometimes.
Only when the dog didn't come when you said it. It just shows your pets let you down, don't they? But we do love them, don't we?
Yeah,